I'm feeling good, y'all. Last night was basketball heaven, and it was a night that me personally, as an NBA fan, I needed. There's been so much going on throughout the first few weeks, and obviously that first week, those first games of the year, it brings so much excitement for all of us NBA fans. But quickly after that first week, a lot of stuff started to happen. And when I say stuff, I really am talking about injuries. There's been so many injuries, and it's impacted the product that we get, and it's come at the top of the season, which is usually the most exciting. We have like 3 or 4 periods of the season that is peak excitement. You have the legitimate start of the NBA. You have All Star Weekend, and you can probably throw Christmas Day games in there too, but it's All Star Weekend and trade deadline. And then you have the end of the season, the final stretch, and then we go into the playoffs. However, you want to slice and dice that. So to have all of these impactful injuries to some mega stars at the top of the season, which is one of the most exciting and important periods, it has been deflating outside of that initial first jolt of excitement. And it has impacted me as a fan, even though I'm a diehard fan. I'm going to find things to be intrigued about. I'm going to find things to be excited about. It's also my work field. So I have to do it for a living. And I understand that I'm one of the rare people. You know what I mean? I'm one of the diehards who's always going to find enjoyment. But just thinking as a typical, normal, average fan, who maybe doesn't have an NBA League Pass or is watching every single game that's happening or keeping up with every single player, I can see we haven't had the best product. And it's a lot of to do, mostly to do with the injuries. I've seen a lot of conversations as well. Why the viewership and different things down? To me, there's so much context that goes into that conversation and so many different things to pinpoint there. But as a fan myself, it has been a little bit disappointing. You got Paolo out. He's a young star. Kevin Durant just went down. Chet went down. We haven't seen Kawhi. Paul George and Joel Embiid was hurt for the 76ers. They're starting to work their ways back. And then you get Tyrese Maxey hurt. Damn near the entire Pelicans roster outside of Brandon Ingram is injured. And all of these things impact the excitement with the storylines that go on in the NBA. The Philadelphia 76ers were supposed to be a team out east that all of a sudden made all of these moves and they're going to look like a different team. They off to a slow start because of all of the injuries. Kevin Durant and the Suns, they turn it around. They have a fire hot start, and now he's gone. Ja Morant with the Grizzlies, the bounce back team of the year, he's out for a few weeks. With Desmond Bain, like there's just so much going on around the league, and it by default hurts our product. But I say all that to say, the night before last, Tuesday night, the first Cup games, to me, it really felt like a turning of the page. And this is where we have to give credit to Adam Silver and the NBA for trying to be creative and find solutions to situations like what's happened at the top of the year, where excitement is kind of dropping because of all of these injuries. They really did the cup for that middle part after the first wave of excitement. How do we keep the interest peaked up and going on? But I think it's even helped now with all of these injuries, because that first night was one of the best nights of the year outside of the legitimate first night. The Steph Curry moment, screaming into the camera, going against the Mavericks, that whole storyline. I love the way that the NBA played into that, making that the late game, making that the headline. It gave Clay the tribute, all of that. By like it was so important, and it was such a needed moment for us NBA fans and for the game itself. And I have to tip my hat off to Adam Silver in them. But even before that, and I'm gonna make sure that my memory is serving me correctly. I don't want to miss anything. But I think they did a really good job of even setting some of these games up. Granted, my Knicks ran off against the 76ers, but the return of Joel Embiid that night and being able to play in that game, if I'm not mistaken, being able to play in that game, he didn't have his best performance, minutes restricted or whatnot. But even that, a healthy version of the Sixers against the Knicks on that night would have been magnificent. But there you go with the injuries. The Pistons versus the Heat. I don't know if this was planned to be as exciting as it was, but to watch that game down the final stretch with the baseline out of bounds play to tie the game, and Spoelstra calling the timeout that they didn't have, and all of that, that was exciting. The Hawks being able to beat the Celtics. Again, I don't think on paper, because I damn sure going into the game wasn't like, oh, the Hawks without Trae Young are about to win this game. No. But it still found a way to be exciting and to give us some type of excitement. And then to wrap up the night with the Warriors and a Steph Curry moment was super dope. And then we go into last night, which was Wednesday, fresh off of those Cup games with all of the court pizzazz and everything. And last night was by far the best night of basketball. We had two 50-point games. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Victor Wembanyama. One of those games, Giannis's game, is damn near a 60-point game. So we basically had a 60-point game because he had 59. On top of those performances, we also had Karl-Anthony Towns with 46 points. We had Jordan Poole against Victor Wembanyama had 42. Cade Cunningham against Giannis had 35. We had 33 from a Shaedon Sharpe performance, so we've been happy to see him back in return. We got a 30-point triple-double from Mr. Old Man LeBron James. Last night was phenomenal. 34 and 10 from a rookie guard and Jared McCain. Like, last night was the night for me. It was legitimately basketball heaven. I'll start with Victor Wembanyama's 50-point game. Like, I, as a guy who has been talking about Vic and how I want to see him get closer to the basket, which I think is so obvious and everybody's been saying, and a lot of people kind of defended in a way that I feel like I need people to understand. When a lot of us say that, it's not to like criticize him harshly. It's not to say that he isn't good or won't be good or he can't shoot threes or anything like that. And I think a lot of people need to kind of loosen up a bit on the Victor Wembanyama talk, because it's either extreme or it's extremely like excuse heavy. And I think we have to be somewhere in the middle where we're not trying to say Victor Wembanyama isn't good or going to be good, because I've seen shit like that and that's just kind of stupid. We also don't need to pretend that today is the end result of him and there is no upside, and he's not in his second year. We don't have to rush the process. So there's a blend that I definitely want to see, and I think last night was a really good game for him. He was able to knock down the threes really well, and even though he wasn't back to the basket like a 2000 center or Al Jefferson, what I appreciated from the performance was a lot of the threes was finally close to the three-point line. Don't get me wrong, he was taking his heaves and his hash threes. A lot of them he missed, but the ones that he did make were a lot closer to the three-point line. They were involved with the offense, and they didn't feel like settled shots. They were pick and pops with Chris Paul. The defense was attached to Chris Paul, and he threw it back to Victor Wembanyama, who has not been shooting the three ball that well this season outside of these last 3 games. And so a lot of teams are probably thinking, hey, let's pack the paint. If he wants to settle for threes, we'll live with that shot versus him killing us on the interior. And last night he made him early. He got himself going. And then throughout the course of that game, you was able to see why he can be so dangerous and will be so dangerous when he puts all of the pieces together. Because once he started to make those threes early, the defense now had to pay attention to that. They had to go out and respect that shot. And a lot of times throughout that game, he did continue to settle because he was heat checking as any other player in the NBA would. But he was putting his head down. He started driving to that rim, was getting to the free throw line, had some dunks, and was attacking and attacking and attacking. And even if it isn't, again, back to the basket, I'm just posting you up, turning around, dunking, I like to see all of the different facets that he showed us. I think last night he had a shot in the mid-range off the glass over Alex Sarr. He got some underneath the baskets touches where dump-offs and dunks, and he was driving, and he made some plays. That's the evolution and development that we want to see in real time. Some of the other performances earlier in the season, because like I said, the last 3 games he's been on a heater from deep. But some of those previous games before that, when he wasn't shooting the basketball as well, a lot of it was simplified defenses kind of going in and say, listen, we're going to put a strong body on you. We're going to push you out, and we're going to make you uncomfortable, and we're going to make you settle into shots that isn't in the flow of the offense. You don't seem to want, and we're going to live with those results. And last night, though the game was close against the Wizards, they still pulled it out. I just think we saw a different version of that, where, again, he still got pushed out a bunch. There were certain possessions where I was seeing guys like Keyshawn George guarding him, and they were pushing him out and not allowing him to get the ball where he wanted to get it. But again, there was a development in real time where we was able to see so many different things in his game. And all of that is going to play a part in his development. He's going to be a guy who, might not get there immediately. And that's okay. We don't have to put the pressure on him to figure everything out in year 2. I'm fine with the process because I think overall the Spurs are doing that as a team anyway. We're seeing minutes with him, Stephon Castle, Sohan is still developing even though he's hurt, Devin Vassell. These are still guys that are developing their games, and if they're doing it as a team, there's no need for them to rush the process and rush Victor Wembanyama and his development. So I think in a long haul, in a long view, long-term evaluation, a lot of the stuff we're seeing, I'm okay with. Now, I say that to say it is still okay to want more. I still definitely want to see him closer to the basket. I still definitely want to see him at his size rebound a little bit more. I still want to see him parlay his strengths into game by game situations. So if you have a game like last night, yeah, parlay that 3-point shooting into interior drives. Let them run you off the line and blow by in 1-2 steps. You're at the rim dunking, getting and ones or getting free throw attempts. I love to see that. Make defenses give you all that attention and empower your teammates and make them better, because he is going to be a player. Again, when he puts it all together, he's going to have every defense at his mercy. Do we allow him to kill us from the inside? Do we allow him to kill us from the outside? He's impacting the game on the defensive side of the basketball. He's going to rebound. He's going to be able to be a guy that can occasionally grab it and go. He's going to be able to kick out, cause all mayhem for defenses. So I love to see a performance like that from him. On the flip side, Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole is having a really solid start to the year, y'all. It's a guy that I bought the stock in because I felt like last year was too bad of a year for us to just think that that's who Jordan Poole is. He's shown us too much in his young career with the Warriors that he's an explosive scorer. He's a guy that's going to play freely and needs to be able to be free. And it was a new situation for him. It was a tough time for the circumstances on why he was traded. And a bounce back year to me kind of seemed obvious. And so far we're getting that. And I think he fits exactly what's going on with Washington. The youth movement, going out there, having 3 rookies in the starting lineup with Keyshawn George and Bub Carrington and Alex Sarr. I love exactly what they're doing. They're allowing him to play that way. They're playing fast. They're playing freely. They're making aggressive mistakes. And I've always been a guy that said that when you are playing basketball and you're making mistakes, that's inevitable. But it's the type of mistakes that you make. And so far, Jordan Poole and a lot of other rookies are making aggressive mistakes. I think he's going to continue to have a season like this. I like him at the point guard position versus kind of last year seeing him off the ball a little bit with Tyus Jones and whatnot. And again, I think he's going to be a guy that can help these rookies instill confidence in them. And just his play style is electrifying because he has a night like last night. It keeps you in the game. He's making all type of 3-point shots. It's crazy. And again, it only allows the rookies to say, damn, okay, that's how we playing. Now, Bub Carrington, you can get in your bag. Keyshawn George, you can have a night like a few nights ago. I forget who they were playing off the top of my brain, where you shot all of those threes and you made one off the backboard, because that's just what we're doing here. We're getting better in real time. We're using these NBA minutes for our real development, and we're playing freely. We're making mistakes. We're moving on, and we're just trying to get better. The Washington Wizards are not a good basketball team right now as far as wins and losses, but you're seeing guys gradually take steps and playing some good basketball for their development. Bilal is looking good. George has had his moments. Bub has had his moments. Sarr has had his moments defensively. Jordan Poole is looking at his best as a Wizard. So I love everything that's going on with them. Flipping sides to the Milwaukee and Pistons game. I love this game because there's so much conversation around the Milwaukee Bucks and their slow start. And obviously another name to now add to all of the injuries I was talking about. Dame is in a concussion protocol. Hopefully he won't miss too much more time. But they're now 2-0 without Dame. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's the only 2 games he's missed is the last 2. They won both of those games. And last night particularly, I think it was good to see, if you're a Bucks fan, from Giannis. Number one, he's going to be Giannis, right? So the 50 points is dope. It's amazing. 59 points, dope and amazing. But it wasn't like he was playing bad. They just not been performing well as a team. But it was certain moments during this takeover he had, especially in the overtime where he hit the 3 and everything, where you see the desire and the will to still claim Milwaukee. And I think that's an important thing, because some of the things Giannis can say and has said will definitely make you raise your eyebrow, as if like he's just waiting for the ticking time bomb reason to kind of get out of there. And having this start of being whatever they were, 2-8 to start the season, that seemed like a get out of jail free card for Giannis to kind of just be like, all right, I'm unhappy. We can't get better. We went out and attempted a trade of getting Dame and trying to throw a second run out here. It don't seem like it's happening. Let me get loose. That seemed like the perfect time if that's exactly what he wanted to do. But after that Knicks loss in the press conference, post-game interview, when he said whatever he said, if you don't want to be here, leave. That was a big statement. Tonight has been a big statement. He's had other post-game, or last night, he had other post-game interviews. We were just talking about trying to get better, trying to stack the wins, and just being focused on getting better. It's all you can really do. We losing, it's whatever, but we gotta fight through it. And last night, him saying after one of the buckets, like, "This my shit, this my shit, this mine." It was dope to see, and it was reassuring. I will say I don't want to take anything away from the performance too much and create more narratives or anything like that. They are going to have some tough conversations to have, right? They're not out of it. Obviously, 4-8. Only 2 teams in the Eastern Conference right now, or 3 teams, have positive records, which is the undefeated Cleveland Cavaliers, the defending champs in the Boston Celtics, and then the Magic beat the Pacers last night, which made them 7-6. Everybody else is below 500. Even the 4th seed, my New York Knicks, and the 5th seed, the Pacers, 5-6, respectively, for both teams, below 500. So they're not totally out of it, but there is something with the team that isn't going to allow them to reach their full potential. And this is not a team that's just trying to make the playoffs, right? This is a team that's had 2 first-round exits over the last few years due to injuries, for sure. But this team and this organization has put this roster together to not just be a second-round team. This is a team that needs to get to the conference finals, that needs to give themselves a realistic chance and opportunity to compete for a championship. That is their goal. That is their goal. So turning around the season to make the playoffs won't be enough. Turning around the season to make the playoffs and win in the first round won't be enough. They have to go on a run, and they have to show something significant to their organization that, hey, we have something here that we can do something with. If not, that would be a few years in a row of disappointment. And because they don't have much room to work with as far as improving a roster, I don't know where else to go. It would have to be Giannis requesting a trade. It would have to be Giannis wants to stay, but now we have to trade Damian Lillard because he continues to get older, because his contract is only as big as it is. He's going to have a market, is Damian Lillard, but I don't know what you get back that really catapults you all of a sudden into being the team that you weren't with Damian Lillard or before Damian Lillard. So this team has to figure out something, because the long haul overarching goal, it looks like it's going to be hard to be met, especially in the Eastern Conference, where it looks like the Cavs have figured things out. You still have to care about and pay attention to the Celtics. Who knows what the Knicks are going to look like when they're finally jailed? Who knows what the Sixers are going to look like when they're finally healthy? Like, it ain't like this one team to beat Boston Celtics type thing. So I'm watching that situation closely. I also want to give some love and some flowers and acknowledge the performance that Cade Cunningham had last night, 35, 11, and 7. Obviously, the turnovers, they got to cut down, but I love the start for the Pistons. They're 5-8. This is what they dreamed of. They just wanted to come in and have a year where they got better, and they weren't the same team that was losing 20-plus games in a row. It doesn't look like they're that same team. It does look like they have a lot more steps to take, and they have to figure out how to empower their best player when it's time to win games at the end of the game. They lack the execution there, but, and they're stepping in the right direction, and that's all you can really ask for if you are a Detroit City fan, Motor City. Other things around the league, LeBron 35, 12, and 14. Again, to see him doing this at this age, and if you watch the game, to see the control he had over the game, the shots he was making in the first half, like down the stretches, take over him and Anthony Davis. Like, LeBron James is still playing at a high level, and I get it. I see why all Lakers fans fall into the trap of thinking that this team can do it. Like, there's always going to be a chance with this LeBron James, Anthony Davis duo. It just always is, because LeBron is LeBron, who can all of a sudden be a 40+% three-point shooter. Anthony Davis is playing like an MVP. The three-point shots he made to close out this game was magnificent and brilliant. They're empowering guys. The way Dalton Knecht as a rookie was able to play, the moments that Austin Reeves has and Ruchi Hachimura, like, it's all off of Anthony Davis and LeBron. And just like that, they're back to 7-4. They had the fire start. Then they went 1-4, and now they've kind of picked it back up. And that was a really, really good win. Granted, there's no Desmond Bane and Ja Morant, but hey, the Lakers just got to stay locked in and beat the teams that are in front of them, no matter who's on the floor, and they did a good job of that last night. But I am still kind of impressed and blown away by the approach that LeBron has to the game. Again, just finding ways to continue to get better. This is a time right now where a lot of us are just kind of like, hey, we're just amazed that he's still playing. But again, he's shooting career best three-point percentage this late in the season. I mean, this late in his career. It's just shit that we have not seen. And the pace, again, the control and the manipulation of defenses and figuring out how to make plays for his teammates at this level when he's supposed to have lost so much of his game and his athleticism and his burst, which has taken a step back as it should. He's still finding ways to be effective at a high level. The Rockets, my favorite Western Conference team, my second favorite team outside of my Knicks. Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, that's all I really can say. Obviously, Jalen Green and Sengun and their team is exciting or whatever, but Tari Eason and Amen Thompson coming off the bench, that's must-see TV. I've been buying into the Rockets since last year when they brought in Fred, and I just love the offseason that they had. But I think it's now time for everybody else around the league. I'm not here to say that they're going to do anything drastic. They're having a fire start, but we know how this stuff goes in the NBA, where a lot of these veteran teams can start to pick it up, and they could start to have those young errors that catch up to them. I do hope that they continue to play this way and have these wins or whatnot. But just speaking on what's happening thus far, man, if you have NBA League Pass or you have any opportunity to tune in to the Rockets, please do. They are must-see TV, especially when Tari Eason and the man comes in. Like, you already have the athleticism and the excitement of Jalen Green when he gets it going. Sengun is the same way. When he gets it going, he can impact the game on so many different facets with his scoring and his low post look, and it's so unique. But you add in a men off the bench. You add in Tari, the athleticism, the defensive tenacity, the way that they go out and rebound the basketball on both sides of the floor. These dudes on the offensive glass is a nightmare for any opposing matchup. And they just bring this excitement and this jolt of energy into every single game. It is so addicting to watch. So I highly advise y'all to tune in if you are able and have the opportunity. Jared McCain, 34-10. Again, this is why I say basketball heaven, because we talked about the stars, we talked about some young guys, and now we're talking about a rookie coming in and having 34-10 against the best team in the NBA, the undefeated Cleveland Cavaliers. Granted, you still lost, but if you are the Philadelphia 76ers, it's hard to really gauge the wins and losses right now because you don't have your best players. You literally don't have your three best players. So you would literally just be shooting yourself in the foot by expecting y'all to come in with no Embiid, no Paul George, no Maxey, and beating a undefeated Cleveland Cavaliers team. No, so you have to find a silver lining, and you have to find something to get excited for. And in a night where y'all could have mailed it in, you had this rookie come in and give you 34-10 and damn near prevail y'all, give y'all some type of false hopeness in this game, which a lot of us coming into last night probably was like, I'm not watching that game. The Cavaliers are going to blow them out. The game will be over by halftime. And Jared McCain came in and gave you 6 out of 13 from 3, 46%. He's been shooting the leather off the ball. You also not only didn't have those big three, but you didn't have Andre Drummond, so you have Yabusele starting at the center. Just a weird night for the Philadelphia 76ers, but all you can ask for is a chance, and for your rookie guard to be able to do that, it gives you some type of hope. Because now when you do have a chance to look at this team when it's fully healthy, you're thinking it's going to look somewhat of the lines of Maxey, Oubre, George, Caleb Martin, and Joel Embiid. Now off your bench, man, you're going to be able to have a veteran guard in Kyle Lowry who's going to take charges, settle the game down, get y'all a nice tempo, be able to occasionally make shots. Jared McCain is now going to be a sniper and a guy that I think can gain some confidence with these guys being out, playing with the basketball in his hands, which is an underrated part of his game because the shooting is so well. But he can shoot with the ball, off of the pick and roll, off of screens, off of handoffs and tossbacks. Like, all of that I'm picturing that he's showing us over this last few games. But then I try to picture it with Joel Embiid. Oh, these shots are going to be a lot more open because that guy demands a double team. These shots are going to be a lot more open because the gravity of a Maxey and Joel Embiid handoff or screen or whatever is going to command the attention of 3 to 4 guys essentially. And now you're talking about Paul George and over here ready to shoot, Jared McCain over here ready to shoot. There's just so many different things to pick up on this draft pick and him hitting and them hitting on him to be this good. And then again, the 10 assists and the playmaking is something a lot of people don't talk about with his actual guard play because he played off ball last year for Duke. And then you come in a situation where you already have Maxey. But that's something as well where he has that in his game too. So I think this draft pick, I said it when they drafted him. I posted the tweet today. I don't know how y'all let the Philadelphia 76ers draft Jared McCain, but they did, and it's looking like a hit. And shout out to Philadelphia. Shout out to Jared McCain, because I think that's going to be something that we're going to talk about in the future, whether it's him being an asset for them. I hate to say that already in his young career, or it's him just being another added piece to a team that, kind of had to makeshift their roster when they brought back Maxey on that big ass contract. They went out and got Paul George, and then you try to pick up the pieces. That's a pick that you can look and be like, damn, that was damn near like a free agent acquisition, the way that he's playing for them and the way that they're going to need him come playoff time. And then you have the Knicks. Karl-Anthony Towns, phenomenal performance, 46-10. The reason I'm shaking my head or responding this way is because I love some of the things I've seen. I love the comeback. But then it's like, on the flip side, why are we down that much to the Bulls? Why do we have to come back against the Bulls at home, in the Garden? Why do we have to do that? It's because we can't guard. But there is a silver lining for us. When Mitchell Robinson comes back and we're a little bit more healthier, we're really going to see a jump in this team. We're going to see a jump in this team. And I think patience is important to have in Knicks Nation right now, because there's so many good, encouraging things that we're seeing. It's just that we're still a new team. We're still gelling. And we still have to get some guys in midseason form. Brunson being one of them. Mikal Bridges is getting better game by game by game, even on the defensive side of the basketball. And again, like I said, when Mitchell Robinson comes back, even when Precious Achiuwa will come back, it just gives us more depth at the center position. But right now, I am extremely encouraged with the offense. We just need to find a way to be able to get reliable stops. And again, that starts with Mikal Bridges being able to not die on screens. That starts with us trying to figure out a world where Karl-Anthony Towns can give some resistance. We're not looking for him to be all defensive. We're not looking for him to be Rudy Gobert. We're not looking for a defensive player of the year. We're just looking for somebody who can give some resistance to opposing offenses so that they can't do whatever they want. And thus far, throughout the first 11 games for us, win, lose, whatever, teams are able to do and get to wherever they want. Some of the first games early on, we were just fortunate that teams weren't making shots. We've had those games where teams just aren't making shots, and we capitalize as we should. But I think the best version and the ceiling of this team is going to be what we look like when we don't have it going. And early in this game against the Bulls, we did not have it going, and it came back to bite us at the end. Because if we had a better first quarter, if we had a better second quarter, this game is not even close. This game is not even close. But you allow Zach LaVine to do whatever he wants to do. You allow them to shoot lights out from three, especially in the first half. You allow Vucevic to get going in the middle of the game where he was just going at cat, left hook here, going at the rim. And again, we have no resistance at the paint. We are able to get Mitchell Robinson in, even if it's just 25 minutes a game. The rim protection he's going to bring, plus the rebounding, and he's a lot better in pick and roll than Karl-Anthony Towns. I think that'll help us a lot when you talk about closing games, winning games, and kind of cutting off the water for some of these other teams from an offensive standpoint. They're just coming in and doing whatever they want to do, especially when they have some type of dynamic guard who is making us pay by getting to spots. And Zach LaVine is one of those guys. When he gets going, he can get unconscious. We've seen Garland. We see Halliburton. We're going to see LaMelo. It's just too many dynamic guards for us to not have some type of resistance. And it's going to start with the point of attack and the back line of the defense. So shout out to the Magic again. They beat the Pacers. I'll give them some love as well. They're now on a 4-game winning streak. This was a team that when Paolo went down, it was like, man, it was hard to watch them. You kind of felt bad and thought their season could kind of float away. Nah, they won 4 in a row. This is exactly the type of basketball they need to be playing to stay afloat until he gets back, because once he returns, they'll get right back into it. And yeah, other than that, we had some other game. Oh, the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves have now lost, 3 in a row? 2 or 3 in a row or something like that. They definitely, no, 3 in a row because they lost the last 2 to the Blazers. I don't know what's going on with Minnesota. They need to figure some things out. Granted, last night didn't have Mike Conley with his wrist injury or whatever that's going on. I just look at the Timberwolves and I think that there's a world where they're a lot better. And again, they're still figuring things out. But this is a night where Anthony Edwards is 0 of 9 from 3. This is a night where Dante DiVincenzo is 0 of 6 from 3. Jaden McDaniels is 0 of 3 from 3. They got to figure out how to get some production at that guard position. And I don't know if that's starting Anthony Edwards and Dante DiVincenzo and letting Ant just handle all of the responsibility. I don't know if that's giving more minutes to Rob Dillingham, who's just a rookie and hasn't seen too much of the floor because, he is a rookie and he has his rookie issues. But they have some things to figure out because I think that they're a lot better than what we've seen over the last week or so. That's all I have to really say. I just don't believe that they are a team that should be losing back-to-back games to the Blazers. As good of a game the Blazers had, 33 from Sharp. Donovan Clingan, he should be your starting center. I don't think there's no more time to waste. The 8 blocks, the double-double, 30 minutes played, phenomenal. I understand the conditioning and the foot issue and everything coming into the NBA. It's probably like, take it easy. He should be a guy playing 20 to 25 minutes, ease him in. Hey, if he's going to be able to do this and handle the 30-minute workload this easily, he is by far your option because you want to start to navigate having these guys get familiar with each other and playing with each other. You want Scoot, Shaedon Sharpe, Clingan, Kamara, who's one of the most underrated 3-and-D wings in the game. You want these guys to start to get that chemistry down pack because they're so young. And I think they could be one of the most fire sale teams the closer and closer we get to trades popping off in December 15th and in the trade deadline. When you talk about Anthony Simons, you talk about Jeremy Grant, Time Lord, who looked good when he came back in his game, DeAndre Ayton, Matisse Thybulle. There's so much here that the Trailblazers could use at the deadline to help some of these contending teams fill some of the holes and get some draft capital and assets. But last night, basketball heaven. That's all I really wanted to say. I wanted to acknowledge how even through all of these injuries, the Cup has kind of reignited my excitement, and I'm sure a lot of y'all in the comments are going to agree. And I'm back excited. I'm back. It's got me back, y'all. It's got me back. Now, what I need is for nobody else to have any injuries. We don't need any more. I don't want to see any more star players. Let's whoever's been hurt, stay hurt, get healthy, and we'll get back. Also, prayers up to Coach Pop, man. Prayers up to Coach Pop. Glad that he's resting and doing better. But, boy, I know the NBA, everybody in the NBA community grabbed their chest for a second like, whew, hold on, don't do that to us, Pop. So, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all soon because we got a lot of other stuff to talk about around the league, but I'm out. Peace.